Well, this is going to be really informative. It's going to be really fun. And you're going to get an inside look into the method and the rhythms of one of the great drummers of our generation. Please welcome Mr. Stanton Moore.
All right. How y'all doing, man? This is exciting. You know, I've known Dave for a good long time. I'm sure most of you know he is Mr. High Sierra, and we've just realized we've been doing this together almost 20 years. So when he called me and asked me to do this, I said, "My man, I got you. I want to do it." And I've done a few of them before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off just by playing a little bit, just to kind of say hello, have a little fun, play the drums a little bit, and then I am going to demonstrate some stuff and talk about some things that I'm going to specifically gear it to everybody, not just the drummers, but the drummers are going to get something out of it too. I've got something in store that's going to be fun. Y'all ready? Yeah. All right. I'm going to start off by playing, then we're going to talk. Yeah, you're right. And I want to say, you know, this is iced coffee that Dave Margulies helped me improvise back in New Orleans. We live off iced coffee. So Dave's making me feel right at home by putting this in my hand. I didn't want y'all to think I was drinking this early. So this is my iced coffee. Compliments of Dave Margulies. Thank you very much, Dave. All right, yes, you're right. Rosie, help me out. I need this over here. Okay. Just move it over there. All right. So, I just wanted to play a little bit just to say hi, but I promised Dave that I was going to come up with something to show you guys. Yeah. That I was going to come up with something to show you guys that would be interesting for the music lovers, as well as the drummers, as well as all the musicians. So Dave asked how many drummers we have in the house. How many drummers we have in the house? Okay, we got quite a few. I like my front row, man. Dave, you see this? The future is looking strong, man. I'm going to come down and say hi to you guys when we get done, all right? So y'all don't go anywhere when we get done. I'm going to come down and say hi to you guys. So parents of these guys, if y'all want to take pictures with me and these guys, I'm coming down, all right? All right? Because I swear, I remember being one of these guys, man. I used to do this to all my favorite drummers. Johnny Vodakovich, yeah, Russell Batiste. When I was 17 years old, I saw Russell Batiste play drums for the first time, and it changed my life. I went up to him and I said, man, I've never seen anything like you on the drums. I want to study with you. He said, bruh, I don't know about no lessons, but we can hang out. So I drove him around New Orleans and set up his drums for the next several years and had to learn as much as I possibly could from Russell Batiste. But, you know, I was a little older than this, but at this age, I was in the front row watching all the drummers. So the future is looking good. I like it. So I just recently came back from teaching a drum camp for 5 days in Greece. And it was an unbelievable experience because the other American drummer was Keith Carlock. And Keith is the drummer with Steely Dan, and he's played with Sting and all these people. And we've known each other, but we really got to hang on this thing. And so they broke up all the groups into beginners, intermediate, and advanced. And I had 2 beginners. So what it made me do was I had to come up with something that engaged them. And I learned a lot by teaching those 2 beginners. And I want to share with you some of what I had to teach these 2 beginners because I found a way to connect to them, but I also found a way to make it interesting for the drummers who are already pros, okay? So check this out. Dave asked how many drummers and how many musicians, but how many music lovers do we have? How many lovers in the audience do we have who love rhythm? Okay? And then, how many people do we have here who are like, man, I wish I could play an instrument. I wish I could just play a beat, right? I'm going to teach y'all how to play a beat, all right? And then, for the drummers, I'm going to teach you how to make that beat magical, okay? Now, I'm pretty sure some of y'all are sitting on the ground. If you need to stand up for this, that's okay. We're going to start with this. Can everybody tap their foot? Right? Everybody can do that, right? Now, can everybody clap on 2 and 4? 1, 2. This is the backbeat. 2, 3. All right, great. Everybody's got that, right? That's the 2 and the 4. I've never seen anybody clap on 1 and 3 at High Sierra. All right, y'all got that. Now, take your right hand, put it on your lap, okay? And we're going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and now. If that's challenging, we're going to take it and we're going to stop. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Right? That's your right hand. Now, let's go back to clapping. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Now we're going to go back to 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, all right? Now keep that going. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now with your left hand, you're going to clap on 2 and 4 on your left thigh. I'm gonna do it on the snare drum. You ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and here we go and we're playing a beat and 1. Right? How did that feel? Now, check this out. I'm about to blow your mind. Now, that might not be the exact beat to all these songs I'm about to name, but you can make that beat work to Al Green, Love and Happiness. Love and Happiness. Right? You can make this beat work to AC/DC, Back in Black. You can make this beat work to just about any frickin' song you hear at this festival. Now, there are some train beats, you know. It's just that beat faster on the snare drum, okay? This beat will work to a lot of stuff. Now, the greatest therapy for me personally in the world is to sit down at the drums and just play to a record. So this beat that I just taught all you guys will work to so many records. Dave, name a song, just any song. Oh my God, Eminem's Front. Yeah, that's a good one. Eminem's Front, it's a put on. Eminem's Front. Eminem's Front, it's a put on. Eminem's Front. Calling out the I don't know the words. But check it out, check it out. And come and join the party dressed to kill. Here we go, right? That's it. Gonna dress to kill. Eminem's Front, sing along. Eminem's Front, it's a put on. Eminem's Front. Eminem's Front, it's a put on. Eminem's Front. Eminem's Front, it's a put on. That's a great call, Dave. All right, now, I promised I was going to make this interesting for the drummers, too. Now, you'll see this beat written on the first page of so many drum books. Now, if I just play this beat like I'm in my first drum lesson with my drum teacher, and I'm like, oh, this is a boring beat. And I play it like this. That is boring. But the notes aren't boring. You're making it boring. So I'm going to show you how to make it awesome. So I'm going to let y'all in on a little secret. When I use these things that I call the Asians, right? So variation, realization, where I realize, oh, wait, that thing is the same as that thing, but it's a little bit different. I already know that thing. So now I can realize that they're almost the same, and then I could totally make an adaptation to that thing, and then make an application to apply it to this new situation, right? So right now, I want to talk about visualization, because I do a lot of this when I'm playing. So when I'm playing, I visualize different cats, or, you know. So with a beat as simple as this, you know, I'm going to let y'all in on a secret. I visualize certain cats. I might visualize Levon Helm, okay? How many of you guys know Steve Jordan? All right, Steve Jordan I'm going to play this beat, and I want to visualize Steve Jordan. Right? Was that better than this? Right? Now, the things that make it awesome are little things, little nuances. So, aside from playing it like I meant it, I wasn't just playing louder. I was playing louder, but I was playing like I meant it, like my life depended on it. And there are little things that you can do that will make these things interesting, little nuances. So these little accents, okay, on the hi-hat can really make this beat come to life. Check it out. I'm gonna take those away. Boring, right? But these accents, now check it out. This is my theory. These accents, we hear them on records because a lot of times engineers and producers will like to apply compression to the drums. So what compression does, a lot of musicians know what it does, but it takes the softer notes and it makes them louder, and it takes the louder notes and it makes them softer. So it compresses the dynamic range of the track. So what that does is, when you've got a softer note jumping out by itself, like a hi-hat note, it makes it louder. The compression makes it louder. So when you've got a lonely solo hi-hat note right there, right? I don't know that our favorite drummers that we hear doing that on record, I don't know that they were accenting those notes necessarily intentionally, but those notes jump out on record. And so when you're playing live, doing that can take a beat from this and make it into this. Right? Now, this is what we're going to do. Since we don't have any instruments with us at this moment, you hear musicians talking about, man, I really like playing with that guy. And why? Because he feels good. Now, what does that mean? That's been an elusive concept, and it's elusive to a lot of drummers. It's elusive to a lot of musicians, and it may be elusive to a lot of our music lovers here. So this is what we're going to do. Since we don't have any instruments with us, I want you guys to play the beat that I just taught you. We're going to start it up. Then I'm going to play it like a drum student reading it off of a page singing it's boring. Then I'm going to play it like my life depends on it. And you tell me which one feels better. I want you to feel this with me. So we're going to play together. Got it? So here we go. Tap your foot. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And tap your hand on your right thigh. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to clap our left hand on our left thigh. Ready? I'm going to start it off like a drum student. Ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm about to make it awesome and tell me how it feels. Right? Which one felt better? The second one? Yeah? All right, cool. So that's just a very straightforward example of things that I'm aware of all the time. And I'm always trying to make whatever I play feel better. And the way to make things feel better is to be aware of these nuances, okay? So now I'm going to apply this concept of visualization to another beat that you guys probably all know. How many people here know the song Hey Pocky Way? Right? Okay. That's not enough of you. So trust me, if you don't know this song yet, that's okay. I'm not mad at you. I'm envious of you because you have a new favorite band called The Meters. And you may have heard of The Meters, but if you didn't go, woo, Hey Pocky Way, then that means that you haven't heard it. And that's okay. You have a new favorite song. Okay? So now, I'm just going to play the beat to Hey Pocky Way so everybody understands what we're getting at. Right? Sound familiar? All right, so I have heard the great George Porter Jr. I'm going to come down to this other mic, all right? Because I want y'all to see this. Dave, you're going to want to see this, man. All right. I'm going to need some room. So the great George Porter Jr. talks about New Orleans' second line, and that beat in particular, Hey Pocky Way, you got to think about, he didn't use the term visualization, I don't think, but I'm using that term with you guys. Visualization. You want to visualize. But George would say, man, you just got to think about a 300-pound woman walking down the middle of the street with a bucket of fried chicken in broad daylight without a care in the world. And that beat that I just played should sound like shak shak right? And remember, she's beautiful and she's large, and it takes a minute for those hips to swing around. Right? Now, I'm gonna come back to the drums. Now, you'll hear people talk about the notion of playing in between straight and swing, playing in between the cracks. All the New Orleans second line stuff is in between the cracks. It's not straight and it's not swung. I'm going to play Hey Pocky Way straight, okay? Here it is, straight 16th notes. Is that right? No. Now I'm going to play it swing, two swing. Check it out. Is that right? No. Tell me if this is right. Right? That's right, because we got it. It's in between the cracks. And I'll show y'all. Let's do this. This is an exercise that I show drummers, but everybody can do it. Play your hands on your lap, everybody on your lap, and we're going to play 16th notes. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E. I'm going to start off straight, and then I'm going to gradually morph it to where it's going to be in between. That's where we're going to want it. Then I'm going to morph it past that to where it's swing, to swing, and then into flams, and then all the way back through the spectrum. So here we go, straight. 1. And now keep in mind, you could play to metronomic eighth notes. You could play to a metronome set to eighth notes. The left hand is going to be doing the morphing in this instance. So beep, bop, beep, bop, beep, bop. The right hand will stay right with the metronome. Beep, bop, beep. Start straight, and we're going to morph together. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and 4, and... That's about where you want it to be. Right? The importance of being able to do that is so that if you listen back to yourself on a record and you're like, well, that doesn't feel good. The most overlooked nuance is the phrasing, how you're placing the smaller notes, the 16th notes, where you're putting them in relation to the eighth notes. Are you putting them too straight? Are you putting them too swing? Or are they right in between? So now, I'm going to mess with that and get back to our 300-pound woman. So what I'm going to do to make this groove feel good is I'm going to put a little bit of extra weight on this note. Back to batum, got, to batum, got 1 and a 2 and 3 and a 4 and... And by weight, what I mean is I'm going to accent that note just a little bit more, and I'm going to swing that note just a hair more. And I'm going to exaggerate that just a little bit. But I'm going to be visualizing this 300-pound woman whose hips take a second to swing around. Check it out. Back, boom, got, on, got. Right? Now, that feel good? It feels good to me. Now, let's see what happens if we do the opposite. If we take that, now I'm gonna rush that note. 1 and a 2 and 3 and a 4. I'm gonna rush it, and I'm gonna play it too straight, and I'm gonna lean forward on it. And this is gonna sound like a skinny girl running down the street with a salad, which is cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But nobody wants to dance to that. Right? Give me that 300-pound woman. Right? Now, yes, indeed. Now I'm letting y'all in on some of the secrets of what make one drummer that you listen to be like, I like him. It feels good. I like that. Whether you're a music lover or another drummer or a musician. And then some drummers, you'll see them be like, I can tell he's really good, but I don't know why I'm not connecting with it. And sometimes it's the feel. It's the phrasing. It's not what they're playing, it's how they're playing it. And you have heard that. It's not what you play, it's how you play it. But that's an elusive topic to try to pin down, and I'm trying to show you a little bit of that today in very straightforward examples. Cool. Yeah. So, I want to, look who's here. Oh, look who's here. Dave, how much time do I have? 30 minutes. All right. All right, great. So I have a surprise guest. Is that cool? This is, I'm going to say a little something about him before I bring him up. So this is one of my best friends in the world. And he reminded me this year at Jazz Fest, as he was staying at my house for 2 weeks, which I was very glad to have him. He's a great roommate. And he reminded me that It's almost been 20 years with him too, where I said, dude, trust me, you've got to get your ass down to Jazz Fest. You can stay with me, just get down there. It's like musical heaven. You'll love it, and you'll come back every year. And he has. So please give a warm round of applause for one of my best friends in the whole world, Skerrick. I'm awake. I'm awake. Scarrick's awake. Beautiful. So since this is a workshop, play shop, I thank you, Scarrick, for joining me, for waking up early. I told him last night, I was like, man, you want to come join me on my thing? He was like, what time is it? I was like, well, I'm going to get there for 10:45. No, that's too early. So he surprised me and showed up. That's true love. Don't go anywhere, bro. Don't go nowhere. So I want to open things up. Well, let's stay where you're at for a second. I want to open things up and see if anybody does have any questions for me or for Scarrick. And it doesn't have to be drum-related questions. It can be music-related questions. It can be saxophone-related questions. It can be, what's it like to live on the road for 20 years, sleeping in a different bed every night, stuff like that. It could be whatever you want. How is that iced coffee? How does Dave Margulies do at making iced coffee? Stuff like that. Doesn't have to be specific to drums or music. So does anybody, can we bring up the house lights just a little bit so, we can talk to the peoples? Because, we really do appreciate you guys supporting us. And I mean that sincerely. If it wasn't for you guys, Scarrick wouldn't own a house. I wouldn't be renting a house. I'd be living on a street somewhere. But I mean that. We pay our bills because you guys show up. And I mean that. So it's rare. It's rare that we get to interface with you guys in a big group like this. So I'm sincere when I say, if you guys have anything you want to talk to us about, now's your chance. I saw some hands. I'm going to get to you, sir, in just 1 second. I think I saw this guy's hand go up a little earlier. So, yes, you back there. What's between my high tom and my floor tom? This right here, cowbell. More cowbell, baby. I overuse the living daylights. I was going to use an F word, but we got kids here. I use the living daylights out of a cowbell. I abuse the cowbell. It's my friend. But the reason I use it so much is because coming from New Orleans, I'm always trying to bring in some of the influences of the Mardi Gras Indian rhythms. Yeah. And so they play this rhythm on the cowbell a lot. Right? So, for the drummers out there, I've taken stickings and coming up with all kinds of different ideas to try to get these rhythms in there, right? Dave told me, he told me I could mention, and I don't want to make this a big plug about my online drum academy, but I will mention it because Dave said I could. I do have a new online site, StantonMooreDrumAcademy.com, and stuff like that is laid out in video lessons with notation and all that. So if you're interested, I'll send you the notation for all that stuff for the drummers who want to subscribe. Just email me, Stanton@StantonMooreDrumAcademy.com. I'm serious. And I'll send you notation on anything that we talked about today. And then if you want to sign up, that's even better. But I'll give you what we're talking about today. Cool? Stanton@StantonMooreDrumAcademy.com. You all have my email address now. Stanton@StantonMooreDrumAcademy.com. Because I don't want to spend too much time talking about the drumistic stuff because I want to include all of the people too, right? So, yeah, trying to incorporate the Mardi Gras Indian stuff. I mean, that's what I'm doing here too. When I take a funk beat and move it from this, and I start doing stuff like this, right? Overusing the cowbell. That's because I'm trying to sound like Mardi Gras Indian percussionists and drum set player and all this kind of stuff. But I'm just one lonely white guy. So, yes, indeed. This gentleman down here with the nice fedora. I like that hat. Yeah! Well, man, we would love to. It's hard enough to get those 13 cats. So he's asking about the Midnight Disturbers. How many of y'all have seen the Midnight Disturbers? So it's an all-star brass band that we started a few years ago, me and my friend Kevin O'Day, and we were like, wouldn't it be awesome to just have a brass band, like, of all of our good friends, It just so happens that all of our good friends are badass MFs, So we've got guys like Big Sam. We used to have Trombone Shorty, but, I know, he's too busy for us now. But Shamar Allen, Corey Henry, Skerrick, Roger Lewis from the Dirty Dozen, Matt Perrine on tuba, and members of the Soul Rebels now. We've got, so it's just like this, I don't know, how many people did we have on stage this year, Skerrick? Like 13 or 14-piece brass band. And, we've tried doing gigs out of town before, and it's like next to impossible, because, everybody prioritizes their own band, and everybody in that band is a leader. So, you book a gig, and then, oh, man, I'm sorry, I got a private party that pays, like, my rent for the next 3 months, so I can't make the gig. And you can't begrudge the cats that. So, Jazz Fest, whoever can show up, shows up, and it's super fun, and we play material that we all know. If we could take it on the road, bro, it's so much fun. Thank you. It's one of my high points, too. I love it. Let's see. I see you back there, and I see you. Let me get to you first, and then I'll get to you. Okay, say that again, because I haven't... Travel back in time, which, hopefully is just an inevitability, and, it's just going to happen eventually, right? We're going to figure that out. So, yeah, through Amazon Prime. Amazon is already working on it. I was just in Seattle, and I went out after my gig with Skerrick, and they're like, that's the new Amazon building, and it does look like a time machine. I'm pretty sure that's what they're working on in there. But if I could go back in time and play with anybody, the top of my list would be John Coltrane, Jimi Hendrix. I would love to become really good friends with John Bonham, and to the point of where he'd just let me show. I would never want to replace him, but I would just want to get to the point where he'd be like, come on, come sit in, man. Come play a tune, Because there is no replacement for John Bonham. There's no replacement for Elvin Jones. There's no replacement for Mitch Mitchell. But I would like to get the opportunity to sit in, do a play shop with them, Hey, Stan, Jimi Hendrix is hosting a play shop. Would you like to come sit in with him? Yes, I would, actually, Dave. Thank you very much. That would be a lot of fun. That's a good question. Yes, sir. Absolutely not. Man, look, I used to literally have I used to rent double beds, 2 double beds from Rent-A-Center and have them delivered. And I'd put somebody in my front room, somebody in my back room, and I'd have somebody in my guest room and somebody in the living room too. So we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 house guests sometimes. And then I started to realize that I actually need to rest during Jazz Fest. So I keep it to the just the one now. And, he gave up his spot for a few years, and now he's come crawling back. And, I love him, so it's like he's got dibs. Cool. Yes, sir. And I'll get to you next, right there with the hat. How did we meet? We met, why don't you tell, I want you to talk too.
King County Detention Center in Seattle. Not proud of it. The Galactic got into a fight, and I was there. I tried to intervene. It didn't work out so well. And we were together for 12 hours in the holding cell. We got to know each other very well.
That's, with every question, there's 3 sides to the story, right? There's his side, my side, and the truth. Well, that's his version. I'm gonna tell my version is we went to San Francisco with Galactic, but we were so broke at the time that we made it on this compilation called "Is That Jazz," but we could only fly out 2 members of the band. So me and Robert Mercurio went out to San Francisco for the release party, and we played this little jam session at the release party, and we played with Scarrick, and I was like, oh man, I love the way this guy plays. Then he stood up on my bass drum and got in my face, standing on my bass drum, and just played a whole solo into my face. And I was like, I love you, we're gonna be friends. And we've been friends ever since. Sheer rock power.
Yeah, so thanks to Dan Prothero of Fog City Records for anointing us.
Yeah, and now Dan lives in New Orleans. He just moved there a couple months ago, and we go to lunch occasionally and hang out. When are you moving to New Orleans, buddy?
2019, right after my daughter graduates. Yeah!
Yes, indeed. And then you had a question. What band's coming out of New Orleans that I'm into? Well, there were a couple of bands that we've had open up for us that we really liked, that we were really into. And then you guys may have heard of them. They opened up for us on the road for a while, and then, but now they've gotten a little bit bigger, and you may have heard of them. One of them is Trombone Shorty. Another one is the Revivalists. So now we just don't pay attention to the young bands coming up, because then we pay attention, we bring them out on the road, and then they get bigger than us. So we just don't pay attention anymore. No, I'm kidding. But those are some of the bands. I mean, they've gotten big fast, because they're great. But it seems like just the other day that I was going to see Trombone Shorty at the Blue Nile with 75 people there, it's, things happen fast. So as far as new bands coming up right now, friends of ours, the Soul Brass Band, they're cool, they're fun. There's always new cats coming up and playing, you know. But it's like when I'm home in New Orleans, I don't get to go out and see stuff as much as I'd like to because, you know, I'm trying to get to the point that Scarrick's at, getting my daughter through school, and then, you know, and then me and Scarrick are gonna be out on the town in New Orleans. Cool. Let's see. You got a question back there? That's a great question. Okay, check this out. And you know, this I don't want to get too drumistic. Duet? All right. So I'm gonna try to do this. I'm out of time, right? I'm gonna try to do this in 5 minutes. Check this out. Oh, I got 10 minutes. All right. You're not gonna believe me, but this is gonna answer your question. Okay? I swear to God. It's going to sound like I'm absolutely out of my mind, but I promise you this is answering your question. I want y'all to sing along with me. Y'all ever heard the song Honda Wanda? Yeah? Honda Wanda. You don't have to know it. Just repeat after me. And this is a Mardi Gras Indian tune by the Wild Magnolia Indians. And supposedly, Bo Dallas wrote this in the bathtub. So check out this rhythm on the tambourine. Check it out. Honda Wanda, yo mama. Sing along. Honda Wanda, yo mama. Honda Wanda, yo mama. Honda Wanda, yo mama. Now check this out. The incredible Idris Muhammad. If you don't know his name, write it down. IDRIS. Or email me, Stanton at StantonMooreDrumAcademy.com, and I'll tell you all this stuff. So Idris Muhammad, IDRIS. I'll get to you in a second. Muhammad. So Idris Muhammad, great New Orleans drummer, who went up to New York and played on all these sessions. He used to follow the Mardi Gras Indians as a little kid. And he took that rhythm, ching, cha-ching, cha-ching, ching, cha-ching, cha-ching, boom, on the tambourine. Honda Wanda, yo mama. Right? He took that rhythm, and he put it on the hi-hat. Then he started filling it in with the snare drum. I'm going to do it a little slower. Then he started doing some little buzzes, okay? And adding buzzes and accents and backbeats. Right? He played that in 1968 on Reuben Wilson's Hot Rod, and then in 1969 on Grant Green's Ain't It Funky Now? 1969. That's the first place I can find somebody playing this in a funk context, and this is the beat that he played on both of those songs. Okay? It's the Mardi Gras Indian rhythm in the right hand, filling it in the left hand. Well, guess what? He didn't think of it this way, but it is paradiddle, left, right, right, left. It's number 33 in George Lawrence Stone's stick control, okay? I'm sure he didn't know that, but that's what it is, okay? But he came at it from a very organic way, okay? Check this out. Gonna sound like I'm schizophrenic for a second, but I'm gonna play you some classic Steve Gadd. Right? Check it out. It's the same sticking, sped up in the front as what Idris Muhammad was doing in what he was playing. Thing is, Steve Gadd was doing it fast in the front, doing the same sticking in the back. So he's doing the same sticking, right? So right? Same sticking. Right, left, right, right. Left, right, right, left. And that is number 33 in George Lawrence Stone's stick control. But he's playing it fast in the front, slow in the back. It's like a drumming mullet. Now, check this out. How many Jimi Hendrix fans do we have in the house, right? Little Miss Lover, okay? Check it out. What Mitch Mitchell is playing is the same sticking. Right? You'll also hear Stuart Copeland do things like this on the Bell of the Ride cymbal. Right? And you'll hear Neil Peart do stuff like that too. But one of the earlier guys to do that, Stuart Copeland, it's quite obvious he listened to a lot of reggae and Jamaican records. The godfather of all Jamaican drumming is Lloyd Knibb, and Lloyd Knibb would do this rhythm on the hi-hat with the Scotalites. You like the Scotalites, right, Dave? Again, write this down. This is one of your new favorite bands. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Right? And then the white kids got a hold of it. And by the white kids, I mean Stuart Copeland and Neil Peart. And they put it up here between the bell of the ride and the snare drum. Okay? Ian Paice used that sticking as well on You Fool No One. Right? I use it all the time. I use it with Galactic for Baker's Dozen, right? But I just elongate it. So it's that same sticking, but I elongate it. And here's answering your question. I use it on the snare, too. Right? Now, not to get too heady, but if you start that sticking on the and of one, it becomes a different sticking, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, which is the Johnny Vodakovich sticking. Right? So now, not to plug myself too much, but number 33 in George Lawrence Stone's stick control is lesson number 11 on StantonMooreDrumAcademy.com. The Johnny Vodakovich is lesson number 12, and then Baker's Dozen, which I call the right, right, left sandwich on right, left bread, is lesson number 13. So email me, Stanton at StantonMooreDrumAcademy.com, and I'll be glad to tell you all about it. But check this out. So now we all know that, through the horrible practices of slavery, right? Music and people were forced to migrate. So you got this forced migration through the horrible practices of slavery from Africa. African rhythms come through Haiti, then they develop in Cuba, and that's where this rhythm got its name. And they called it the cinquillo. And then that rhythm, we don't call it that in New Orleans, but that became the predominant rhythm in Mardi Gras Indian rhythms in New Orleans. So then Idris Muhammad took that rhythm up to New York, and he put it on the hi-hat and then filled it in with the left hand. And then all these other people have used that sticking that I've just showed you. Steve Gadd, Ian Paice, Mitch Mitchell, Stuart Copeland, Neil Peart, all these drummers have used that sticking, right? So to close out, I've just given you about 300 years of drumming history from Africa to Haiti, Cuba, through New Orleans into the hands of Idris Muhammad. He took it up to New York. Steve Gadd started doing it, and the rest is history, right? So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Dave Margulies, for asking me to do this. I'm going to come down and say hi and take pictures with these little guys down here. Thank y'all so much. I'll see y'all late night.
Yeah, how about it for Stanton Moore, y'all?